today is the stupidest that AI is going to be, even
Right.
though it's cool. It makes no sense to look into it. Until the androids come in, no one truly can predict the trajectory of AI.
How do you forecast the next day what's going to sell?
AI would definitely kill off some jobs. I don't think it's a matter of whether we're ready or not. I don't think we have a choice.
Welcome to Take It or Leave It, a podcast for entrepreneurs who wants to build smart, scalable tech without needing a tech degree. After 8 years of building million-dollar apps for founders from around the world, I've seen what works, what flops, and what founders always get wrong. On this show, I break it all down. The real talk, the dumb mistakes, the moves that actually grow your business, from product ideas and development to automation, AI, and real business outcomes. Whether you're looking to streamline your ops, turn your idea into a SaaS, or just stop feeling left out of the tech conversation, you are in the right place. Let's make tech make sense. This is Take It or Leave It. Welcome to the first episode of Take It or Leave It. Our guest today isn't just talking about AI, he's quietly building it into real businesses while everyone chases the hype. I'm talking to Johnson Goh, co-founder and CEO of Mindhive, the AI startup powering operations for brands like Zeus Coffee, one of the biggest coffee chains in Malaysia. In just 12 months, Johnson and his team has gone from a scrappy startup to a top 13 finalist in the 2024 Alliance Bank Be Smart Challenge, all by solving the unsexy but essential problem with AI. We're talking logistics, accounting, and ops bottleneck. Not flashy, but these are the tools that keep businesses moving. Before this, Johnson launched a resale platform called Unearth, but like any sharp entrepreneur, he saw a better opportunity and pivoted fast. In this episode, you will hear the biggest mistakes founders make when trying to AI their business, how to build tech for teams who don't even understand the tech, and what it takes to really stay relevant when AI evolves every single week. Welcome to the show, Johnson.
Hello, Adrian.
All right, cool. That was a quick intro. How was it?
Good.
Good. All right, cool. Let's dive straight into one of our questions today is actually something that I'm very, very interested in as well, which is what made you jump into AI so early on that you are essentially one of the early AI startups, AI companies in Malaysia.
So this stemmed from me running my previous company called Unearth. It's a very manual business, and there was a lot of coordination that was needed in that business. And if you fail one single point, it falls apart, right? I mean, you can lose money from like forgetting to do something. So this made me like constantly think about automation and how to automate certain processes. I remember during that time, ChatGPT wasn't out yet. Something that was starting to gain a little bit of popularity was those article writers. I don't remember the name. Oh yeah, okay. It's called Jasper, right? Jasper.ai.
Yes.
Yeah. I started playing around with it, and instead of asking it to generate articles, I asked it different kind of questions instead, and it actually could give me answers. It wasn't very good at that time, but it was kind of like good enough, right? So this triggered me to think that, hey, this thing is gonna just get better from here. So I then just started figuring out what needs to be in place for me to like start an AI company. And that kind of like boiled down to three things, right? One is I needed a good tech co-founder. So luckily, my CTO at Unearth at that point of time, he's a really good tech guy. But the problem was he's stuck in old technologies, right? So I had to like slowly convince him and slowly give him examples. And when ChatGPT finally came out, I got him to like try it out and to start generating like Python code, right? And he was impressed, and then he started diving deep into it, and then finally made a call to like join us. The second major requirement was that we had a sandbox to play. And I was put in a very lucky position. The founder of Zeus Coffee is actually an investor in the previous company as well, in Unearth. Through our conversations, he mentioned that, hey, there's a lot of use cases that we have that we want to build. and it was difficult to find people who can build it with him, right? So that gave us the second requirement, which is basically a sandbox for us to play and learn. And third, of course, is capital. So in the beginning, we funded it through jobs that we took from Zeus Coffee, but sooner or later we actually raised a small round of investment to actually grow the team even more.
Right. So you've gone through a bunch of different things. Let's step back a little bit and unpack that a little bit. So, first of all, you mentioned that you actually have a CTO in your previous company, right? Which is Unearth. You already have that person in that that previous company. So it's probably an easier way to kind of get him in or get him on board, right? But for those like, let's say for example, our listeners, whoever that is watching this right now, they are actually non-technical and they are looking for a CTO, let's say for example, right? So what would you say is something that is essential for them to kind of look out for when it comes to like, getting a CEO? Then I'll dive into a little bit more different questions later.
A lot of this depends if the technology is actually a core part of your business. So I think in a lot of cases, for example, if you run a gym business, and you want a technology component, having a CTO may or may not be necessary. I can only speak from my experience. So how I actually attracted CTOs or technical partners throughout my life is by first proving business value. So what I do is I usually build the whole operations of the business either via Google Sheets or like some no-code tool like Airtable or something else, and then have a kind of like a framework for the business first, and then start generating revenue with it. And then from there, kind of like approach kind of like the tech people that I kind of like knew and keep them updated over time, right? As the business kind of like grows without the tech. Then from there, we actually give them an offer to kind of join. With Mindhive, this is not kind of like possible because it is kind of like core tech business.
Very high tech,
yeah,
yes.
very core tech business. So it's not very possible. But that's where I guess we step into like help, like yourself, help others kind of like build the solutions that they need.
Right. Got it. Finding a CTO is not easy, right? I believe one of the advantage that you had was actually your previous startup actually had a CTO, right? That's why it's easier to kind of get into it. But most of the time, people might not even need a CTO until like they've actually validated the whole idea, just like what you said, right? Validate the whole business idea, get things done, get things moving without the tech, and then bring someone in to kind of bring in the tech, right? Okay, so another thing that I would like to kind of dive a little bit deeper into is how did you kind of get acquainted with the core team from Zeus Coffee? Like, what's the story behind it, and how did you kind of come across and kind of get to know them?
Right. So it was actually through networking that I met kind of like the CTO CEO of Zeus.
Okay.
So we built kind of a good relationship through like talking and like constantly talking with each other, and then finally when I started kind of like a company, the Unearth, I just reached out to him to if he's interested to invest, and he did. And I guess how I kept the relationship going was to constantly update the investors as we went along, and actually build that trust. And
Right.
we became very, very close friends after that. So start sharing, our thoughts, about the future and stuff like that, and constantly keeping that conversation open.
Were they already running Zeus Coffee at the time?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were.
Okay. So they were.
Yeah, it was still very early days. Yeah.
I see. Okay. And so you met them through networking, and then basically kind of spoke to them.
Yeah.
And that time they're probably not like huge yet at the time.
No, they weren't very huge yet. I think they were like 80 outlets maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
80 outlets is also already kind of huge.
Yeah,
but I mean, of course, now it's bigger.
Yeah, now it's 10x.
yeah, way more than that. Okay, cool. Okay, so my next question would be, was there a moment when you think Mindhive might not survive, or is it just smooth sailing all the way since you've started because of the AI hype?
The short answer is actually financially no.
Okay.
We haven't been put in that position yet.
Okay.
But of course, because at the very early stage of the company, right, AI was still very nascent, right? There's not a lot of good material online and stuff like that. So we had to figure everything out kind of like from scratch, how to build certain things, really dig into the first principles behind, like creating that solution. Yeah, there were a lot of times that we are at the brink of giving up, like, hey, like this cannot be done, but we just soldiered through it and like try to talk to as many people as we could, and to find solutions around it, to be able to build the solution according to the specification from the client, basically.
So what made you have that, conviction that this is still going to work and that you're able to kind of just push through to actually kind of keep going with it?
Right. So I think with AI, right, I believe that today is the stupidest that AI is going to be, right? And I think that it's only going to accelerate. The improvement is only going to accelerate over time. I have a core belief that it's not a matter of whether it can, it's a matter of when it can be solved. So it's about managing that timeline, right? To make sure that we don't kind of like die halfway through while the model is kind of like improving. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Today is the stupidest AI is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's a good quote right there. So let's dive a little bit deeper into how non-technical founders, companies, right? They don't have a CTO, they don't have a tech team, right? But they would like to, first of all, embrace AI, right? There's probably like multiple stages. So how would you advise someone like this to get into AI, to embrace AI, to actually start using AI tools, or even like building custom AI tools to help solve their operational problems, efficiencies, and stuff like that?
So I think AI is meant to be an enabler, all right? It's not meant to be kind of like, taking solutions here and then plugging it into your business, right? The first step is to actually understand your business, lay out your entire value delivery process of your business, and then from there, identify where are the key gaps. When I mention gaps, it's about where are the key problems that is stopping the growth or causing a lot of like leakages within the business. For example, if let's say in your delivery process, you figure out that you're lacking, let's say, market research to help inform the decisions within your business, and this is costing you how much? Because there's a lack of this market research, right? From that, then start solutioning. What is required to solve the problem? What are the different ways that you can use to solve that particular problem? Yeah, I think this is a step that a lot of business owners miss out, and they go for the shiny objects, right? And they go for what's new or what's cool, which may not necessarily have ROI for their particular businesses, lah. Yeah.
Love that, because that's what I talked about always on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
Start with the problem, right? Not with the solution.
Yeah.
With the AI hype nowadays, there's like a bunch of different tools that you can use. There's, whatever that is, like there's so many of them that I cannot even name them right now. But what you're saying is that start with the problem, identify where the gaps are in your value delivery process, and then tackle that, start gathering information, gathering requirements, how you can actually solve those problems, and then take it from there, right? So the tools are out there, yes, but you need to look for the ones that actually help solve the problem, not just start from the solution and then try to find a problem to solve.
Yep. And that will also kind of like determine whether the tool fits your particular use case, the existing tools, or do you need to custom build, right? This will inform all those decisions moving forward. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So you help companies build custom AI solutions, right? And then, of course, just now you also mentioned that you kind of productize them and stuff like that, right? So what's the biggest waste of time that you've seen founders or companies put their time and money and all their resources into, obsessed over, that doesn't actually bring them the right ROI? Was there anything particular?
Actually, there's nothing in particular, but I think what I can highlight is the instances where people waste a lot of time, right? I think trying solutions, different solutions, without having clarity on the problem statements, it's the biggest waste of time that founders and business owners kind of like jump into. Because to actually try out a new solution, it's not about plugging and playing, right? There's change management that comes into play. There's actually making the product work within the company that actually comes into play. All these are actually invisible wastes of time that founders and business owners and even executives don't really see. Moving back to that, having that clear problem statement in mind, and then from the next step after that is being able to like quantify and prioritize which kind of like use cases actually move the needle for the business, right? Yeah. So there's no clear 100% waste of time. It's just whether it is worth the investment, right? Yeah.
Right. So it might still be worth it to kind of learn about the tools and stuff like that. But ultimately, what really kind of moves the needle is basically things that can help, move your business forward, right, in a substantial way that brings the ROI.
Yeah. So, for example, I mean, if your business doesn't receive a lot of voice-based customer service requests, right, and you're looking into voice-based solutions, unless the voice-based solution can open up a new market for you, it makes no sense to look into it, for example.
Right.
Yeah. Even though it's cool, right? Yeah.
Got it. Very good examples. Yeah. Another question that I have is also, you've seen a lot of AI solutions out there, right? We'll dive into your solution later, so that we can kind of get a hang of what are the different tools that you've created for companies. But was there any tools that you think are just a waste of time, or is just a fancy UI on top of ChatGPT that just doesn't bring much value? Like, was there anything in particular that stands out because of the AI hype that everyone is building, right? That you think is just bullshit, basically.
I think this is an extremely hard question, right? Because I think that no one truly knows or truly can predict the trajectory of AI, like how fast things improve and stuff like that. So what could have made sense like a year ago can look stupid today, right? Example of that is like, let's say a chatbot that asks questions of your knowledge base. Right. Right now, that is pretty much you can use ChatGPT to do it already, like automatically, right? So this becomes a defunct kind of like product to use, right? But back then it made total sense, right? Because ChatGPT didn't offer those functionality, and as things progress, it will always be that challenge of identifying like what can be value on top. But what is true is that I think we're going to see solutions kind of like build deeper and deeper into verticals, right? Into verticals to be able to build a strong, what you call an evaluation layer that basically dictates how the AI reacts in that industry's context, right? So that will be, I guess, the competitive advantage that these products build over time.
Right. So basically building the moat so that the data or the AI is basically tailored to that industry particularly, so that
and the industry's unique workflows, basically.
Right. So it brings them a better solution, better basically make it better, a better tool for that particular industry itself.
I think like from your videos you mentioned before, do not target too wide. So I think this is one.
When you're targeting everyone, you're targeting no one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I recently spoke to one founders of an AI company. They are building tools for using AI and stuff like that. So one of the things that we mentioned just now is like when you are just basically a fancy UI on top of, let's say, OpenAI's API. Of course, you can make your prompt better. You can have maybe models that are trained with your data and stuff like that, right? So other than that, what do you think companies or founders can actually do when they are building AI tools, right, to make sure that if, let's say, they would like to kind of sell this as a solution in the future, and I would like to hear how you kind of take that approach as well, which you mentioned is more towards vertical. How do you make sure that, the AI companies right now, let's say, for example, OpenAI, whoever that is, don't just kind of bring something out or create a new tool that just kind of replaces you entirely?
The simple answer is I can never be sure. All right. But what I think is by building deep into a vertical, you're actually using multiple tools, right? Multiple tools from different kind of like providers and stuff like that, and giving them a set of the best possible tools to solve that particular use case, right? So this is something that this is an approach that I think is valid. And over time, we are building a set of prompts, a set of what they call databases or rack databases that are relevant to that particular industry, including the evaluation sets for that particular industry and use cases. So that's how I think that AI companies can slowly build an advantage over time. It is very difficult for actually a big model to have that accuracy for a particular niche of use cases, right? Because retrieving from a wide knowledge base is actually very, very difficult.
Okay, so basically go deeper, niche down into the verticals,
right.
whichever industry you're currently in.
That's right.
Embrace AI, train the AI so that it actually does better for that particular industry.
Right.
And that's how you kind of build up that moat, build up the competitive advantage,
Right.
so that you cannot be just easily replaced. We never know, right?
Yeah.
It could still happen,
Yeah.
right? But that's how basically a way that you can actually kind of dive deeper into. So let's talk a little bit about the products that you've built. Could you share with us a little bit more about the tools that the solutions that's available from Mindhive?
So the business that we run, there's two main components.
Yeah.
Okay, the first is the service-based component, where we actually build AI solutions according to a client's requirements. So we build them in three different core modules.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is in terms of document and workflow automation. Secondly, forecasting and simulation kind of use cases. And thirdly, chatbots. An example of a document and workflow automation tool that we built is where we helped Zeus Coffee kind of like automate their accounts payable and accounts receivable processes. So with accounts payable, basically what you need, the manual portion of accounts payable is actually taking the documents, invoice, the DO and all that, actually manually keying into whatever system that they need to record their expenses in.
Yep.
And then after that, manually doing the three-way matching checks and all that, goes through a manual approval process before going into their finance system, their accounting system. With AI, this was actually just reduced into one step, which is basically they need to dump all their invoices into one folder.
Mm-hmm.
AI automatically sucks it out, and then classifies it to which outlet it's supposed to belong to, and then puts it into their finance system, into their accounting system, basically.
Right. So what you're saying is that they just have to take a either scan or take a picture of the invoices, whatever that is, load it into the system, and then it will just know exactly which outlet it is for, and then what exactly is the invoice for, and then it will just automatically kind of sync it directly into the accounting system.
That's right. Yeah. So this is for like Zeus Coffee, which is a relatively big company. We do have use cases for smaller companies as well. For example, we have a client who is a custom broker firm. So their job is to clear import containers. That means whatever you import from the port. So the core of their workflow is actually to extract information from three core documents, which is the packing list, the customer invoice, and the bill of lading. All right. So from these documents, you have to take out all the information and fill up a whole long custom clearance form that gets submitted to the Royal Malaysian Customs. This client actually had this idea of like really just automating his entire workflow from end to end. So he took a chance. Happy to inform that we actually managed to actually automate the entire process, kind of like end to end for them.
Okay.
And which saves them at least 70 to 80% of their manual manpower.
Right. I wonder how much that translates into cost saved.
Yeah, but their biggest concern is not cost savings.
Okay.
It's actually scaling up the business, and it's very difficult for them to find manpower that can consistently do this work, because it's very, very drab and rote and repetitive. So it's actually very difficult to retain the staff to be able to do this.
So that's exactly what AI and tech is for.
That's right.
Like to replace this kind of not to replace the people, right? But more like to help with those kind of processes,
That's right.
so that people can actually do more meaningful stuff rather than doing the repetitive stuff, that nobody likes. I mean, maybe some of them like it, I don't know. So what about the other two solutions that you have?
In terms of forecasting and simulation, what we did was with Zeus Coffee is we helped them help their outlet managers predict two things. So one is for the next week on the hourly level, what sales is going to be, and for tomorrow, what food is going to sell. All right. So these are the two main use cases that we are building out for them. This actually is a very complex kind of like solution to build out because you can imagine for a company like Zeus Coffee, different outlets has different kind of characteristics and are affected by, let's say, holidays or affected by weather differently. Yeah. And each sales channel is affected differently as well. So, for example, an online sale is affected differently from offline sale by the holidays or by weather. Yeah. So, what we had to do was we actually built one model, one forecasting model per outlet and per sales channel. That means either online or offline. Okay. Right? So then we actually managed to hit quite a high accuracy from them because we actually built the entire system to be to maximize the number of experiments, to put it lightly lah. But this particular solution category, right, is actually kind of tough because not a lot of companies in Malaysia have the clean and populous enough data set to be able to run this kind of like projects.
I have two questions there. First of all is back to this data set thing. So how did you kind of solve that problem with the data set, right? That's one thing. And how do you forecast the next day what's going to sell? I think that would be something interesting. Our listeners will be interested to know.
So for the first question, on the data level, what we had to do was actually really build the data pipelines into their operations, right? And make sure that the way that the data is gathered is correct, and every step along the way until it reaches what you call the data warehouse is actually correct, right? Okay. It's actually validated and correct. So that was it wasn't the first step, okay? We went to it and tried it out, and then we realized that, hey, the data got problem, so we had to fix it retroactively.
Yeah. Let's stay on the data one a little bit. So you're saying that you are trying to basically gather data within the operation, what sells and stuff like that, right? So that's probably something that people can see how it's being done, right? But what about, like just now you mentioned, the data that you cannot actually kind of get easily attainable, right? Let's say, for example, I don't know, forecast data, or like just now you mentioned, it's basically being affected by holidays, weather, and stuff like that. So how do you kind of aggregate all these things and basically kind of feed that into the system so that it helps you with better accuracy on the forecasting?
Right. So the core of forecasting is actually experimentation. All right. So what we did was we built a way, a very quick way to be able to test different data features. Okay, what's a data feature? Right. A data feature is essentially something that affects the thing that you want to forecast. So let's use sales as an example. Right. So for sales, what affects sales? It can be weather, it can be holiday periods, it can be the type of outlet, it can be whether there's a promotion running. Yeah. All these things are things that we identified that affect sales in a big way. So what we do is then we experiment by implementing those data features in and see how it affects the correlation of the sales that was predicted against the actual sale. Right. So like when there is correlation, we keep that data feature. Right. And if not, then we just get rid of it. Okay. So an example of a data feature that we actually eliminated was actually weather. Right. Even though weather does affect sales, and actually it does affect sales quite a lot. But the sad fact is that in Malaysia, weather data is horrible, right? It's horrible. So we couldn't find a correlation, so we had to remove it. Right?
Got it.
So then it's a matter of getting as close as possible to the particular accuracy and as usable as possible.
Got it.
Right. Yeah.
Got it. Well, I mean, that kind of, in a way, shared a little bit about,
the second question.
The second question, basically. The second question is like, how do you actually forecast that this food is gonna sell, right? Was there anything in particular?
So in a high level, it's actually just pattern recognition, right? So how it actually works is that like in that point in the past, there was a spike. What was the permutation of data features at that point of time? And then it learns from this as it goes along, right? And this is something that is very difficult for humans to do, or it takes a very highly trained human do it again and again over time. Right, so this is one of the things that I think if we can get it out to the public, it could actually help a lot of small business owners gain access to a capability that they never had before. Right? Yeah. So that's kind of like the direction for this.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the question that I also am very interested to kind of know what you think about is that, do you think there is any businesses out there that is just not suitable to adopt AI?
I think all businesses can adopt AI in some way, right? The first thought on my mind when you mentioned that was like physical-based businesses, but even physical-based businesses, I think, let's say a plumber, right, can use someone taking care of order processing. You know, can use someone to take care of its accounting, you know, stuff like that. So I guess the question is like, to what extent, right? To what extent can AI kind of like play a role? So with those businesses that are more physical, for now, until the androids come in, for now, the extent is more towards automating out tasks that do not generate revenue for them, right? But in the case of, for example, like the custom broker, AI then becomes an enabler for them to scale their business significantly, so generate more revenue from it. Yeah, so I guess it's a matter of how much.
Basically, what you're saying is that in some way it will still help, right? It just depends on whether it's something that generates revenue for you or it's just something that saves you more time. No matter what, there will be certain things that you can deploy some AI solutions that will help improve or your efficiency or something like that.
That's right.
Let's kind of look ahead a little bit, right? Now that we have these AI tools, all this AI stuff in basically full-blown mode, right? So there's so many things coming out. So where do you think we are heading to? Like, will AI be something that is killing off a lot of jobs?
I think AI would definitely kill off some jobs, right? And I think that for good reason as well.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, right, why would a business pay money to automate out a particular job? Okay. Number one is they can't find people for it. Okay. Number two is they cannot afford the people that are meant to do it. For example, like surveillance.
Yeah.
Not everyone can afford 24 hours human surveillance, right? For certain things, and that's where AI can help, kind of like alleviate that cost. So I guess sooner or later, I think there will be a shift in the types of jobs that us as humans will do. I don't 100% know what it will be yet, but if you imagine there's no more telephone line connectors today, right? In the world today, and humans, we always find the next thing to do, right? And that's what I truly believe.
So basically, it will kill off some jobs.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
Things will probably get more efficient with the systems, with the AI. Maybe in the future it'll be androids. So what do you think people should be doing nowadays? Not just the founders, the companies, but also like in general, people who has a job. What do you think they should do to kind of stay relevant and not get replaced, and so that they can actually survive in the future?
So I think as AI progresses, the key skills that become more and more crucial are, number one, having the ability to vision, right? What do you want, or what do you want to achieve, and have clarity on that. And number two is knowing how to ask good questions, right? Ask good questions and give good directions. These are the core skills I think that will bring you very far ahead with AI helping you out. Yeah.
So basically, the hard skills are probably going to be lesser and lesser useful in the future.
Yes, I
but
believe so.
Softer skills, like let's say, how do you think? How do you come up with a certain process? How do you, prompt engineering, right?
Right.
Basically, it's more towards how people think rather than how do you do a certain thing. That's going to basically be changing. That's what you're saying.
That's right.
Okay, so let's be real, right? Like, do you think our country, Malaysia, is ready for the change for AI?
I don't think it's a matter of whether we're ready or not. I don't think we have a choice, right? So I think that we have to change,
Yeah.
or risk just falling behind. There are a lot of things that we can definitely do better at.
Yeah.
For example, improving the awareness of keeping good data in the company and stuff like that, and having awareness for having good data practices.
Right.
I think because the more data or the more clean data you have, the cheaper it is actually, and the more effective the AI solutions that can be built around it. Right. So I think this is something that a lot more attention needs to be paid to this. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that start putting awareness into building the right foundation,
That's right.
so that you can actually going into AI with the right data. So when you say clean data, what do you mean by that?
Clean means, first of all, it's collected in the right way. There are a lot of instances where data is not collected holistically. For example, not only not collected holistically, but also not built into the workflow. Okay, a good example is, let's say, a food retail chain, because I have a little bit more knowledge about that.
Yeah.
Having someone to track the out of stock instances for that particular item, right? If it's actually left 100% to the service staff to do, because they're so busy,
Yeah.
they tend to miss that out. And when they miss that out, it's actually a data point that is missed and can be used to wrongly train
Right.
the AI, right? Because
Right.
what you see is the sales going stagnant or zero, going to zero, but there is still stock. So then the AI will learn it as, oh, the demand fell during this particular time.
Yeah.
So it becomes a lot harder to actually train an accurate model, for example,
Right.
in this particular case.
Got it. So, what would you suggest, companies or founders start doing so that they can actually build this foundation, have clean data, have accurate data that is going to help them in the future when they, need to start building AI tools?
So I think founders and companies need to be clear on the core value delivery process of their businesses and what are the key factors that affect this. For example, if let's say marketing was one key piece of the value delivery process for your particular business, you kind of need to be clear what affects it. For example, doing market research, having clear vision of your target customer or your ideal customer profile, stuff like that. And for each one of those steps, kind of like ensuring that the data that you gather from it is actually clear. And for that to happen, you also need to be clear on the workflow of each of these kind of like micro drivers and lay it out clearly, and to identify where could the data gathering process go wrong. This is a skill that I guess business owners will need to develop over time.
Right. So you need to basically know what you're doing, know the processes, like really, really kind of at the back of the hand.
And document.
Right. And document. Make sure you document things down so that you can actually have basically a touch point across different data points, and make sure to kind of gather those accordingly.
Right.
So that's enough with the AI and stuff. We've talked a lot about AI. So what's your vision for Mindhive?
The premise behind Mindhive in the beginning was we were starting as a service company to basically learn, right? To basically learn and build a team around the use cases to build a stronger and stronger competency in building AI software. And we're kind of lucky that in the early stage we got Zeus Coffee to kind of do that, to be there, provide us the data, provide us the use cases, and provide us the criticism. So we actually
And
grow.
of course the money.
And so we grow from that, right?
Yeah.
We grow from that. Slowly we are looking at building our own products, one of which is a product to help wholesalers, manufacturers, and distribution companies, because a lot of them have a pressure to like actually move towards an MOQ of 1, a minimum order quantity of 1, which is they need to deal with smaller and smaller orders.
Yeah.
And for that to happen, they need to scale this role called a sales coordinator, which is extremely hard to hire good ones and to retain. Extremely difficult. So what they do is they basically handle from the order extraction all the way to the fulfillment, coordinating the whole thing. And we believe that AI will be the best choice to handle that coordination well. Right? So that's something that we are working on.
So where do you see Mindhive in like 5 years' time?
We are seeing the service component as our R&D kind of like center, right?
Okay.
While there will be another team that constantly productizes what we build into packages that are pretty much plug and play for our customers. Yeah. So I think we could be a company with a service layer with maybe like 5, 10, 20 products, you know, like a kind of like a studio.
Right.
Yeah, that's how we think as of today, unless things change. Yeah.
Well, we never know what's going to change in the next 1 year, right? Okay, so if you weren't building Mindhive, right, what would you be doing?
I'll probably be building another company.
Okay, still building company. Typical entrepreneur. Okay, cool. I think that should be everything for now. So, where can people find you if they would like to know more about you? You know, find out about the things that you do.
You can go to our website at www.mindhive.asia. For the product, you can go to www.ordermaya.com. Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or Facebook or WhatsApp. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll put it in the show notes and make sure that people can find you. All right. Cool. I think that should be everything for now. It was a great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Right. Thank you for sharing all the insights and all your expertise on AI with us.
Proud to be the first guest on.
Yeah. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you for hopping on.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Johnson.
All right. Bye-bye.